Good evening, Stampers. I'm Wendy Fee with Wendy's Little Inklings, and it is 7:30 on a Thursday night, so I'm back for some more crafting fun. So since Thanksgiving in Canada is on the 11th of October, I thought we would do some table favors this evening. Really only the one, but we're just going to kind of focus on this one. However, I've got both of these to kind of show you what I have done. Now, before I forget, I just want to mention that today is the last day of celebration. So if there's anything out there, anything left that you want, whether it's paper or the sheep stamp set or, anything out there, today is the last day you can get it. And today is the last day as well that you can join Stampin' Up! And choose that one extra free bundle to put in your kit. So choose $165, get that extra free bundle, and we're good to go from there. The other thing is that Merry and Bright, which is the big stamping event that we're doing in October, the registration for that closes on Sunday. It is $75 for the online virtual event, but we have a lot of stuff packed in for that $75, including prizes and stamp sets and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to move on. And the first thing we're doing this evening, I just thought I would bring this over so you can see it. Okay, so we are playing with the Harvest Meadow Suite tonight. You can find it on pages 54 and 55 of the mini catalog, the July, kind of sort of August to December mini catalog. So we're playing with part of it. So we're using the paper tonight, and then we're using the embossing folder, and we're using the dies, right? And that will be what we've got on our little table favor. Now, before I even go into that, I want to show you one other thing. So the sampler for this month, which I just need to finish writing the instructions for it. All the photos have been taken, but the instructions are not done. So the sampler for this month, I'd hope to have it done a little bit earlier, is this one here. So the whole entire thing fits inside a 9 3/4 by 9 3/4 frame. This is 8 by 8, just this one piece of crumb cake. And everything in here was made with that particular suite. I don't think, aside from the sentiment in here, maybe I can't remember. I put this together a couple weeks ago, so almost everything in here is from that. But anyhow, so this will go up for sale in my online tutorial store one day next week. I just need to write the instructions, and because I go and add a lot of photographs, because each one of these little blocks has got a face up one, and it's also got like a side view so you can really see what it looks like. It just takes a little bit of time to write them. So it's going to be in the store. It's just not quite there yet. Okay. So like I said, tonight we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a table favor. So this is my little napkin that I went and rolled up to try and get inside here. I did have to do a little bit of playing to figure out how big to make this, because when you have these napkins that are rolled up like this in restaurants, it seems like they're so easy. They've got it all figured out, and I really did have to work at this because originally I made it a little bit too big. I wanted to make sure, this is some of my silverware, I wanted to make sure that I could put it on my table at Thanksgiving with my fork and my knife kind of stuffed inside. So there is enough room to do that and put it on a plate. Just for the simplicity for tonight though, so that you can see it a little bit better, I just have the cutlery out of there. That, and I'm scared that I'm going to end up dropping something and it'll be noisy, and because that's just who I am. All right, so I've got the pieces here and I've already cut them out just so that I don't have to worry about trying to do that on camera, because as we all know, I'm really horrible at that. Okay, so there are a couple different pieces. So you've got these two dies here, which are cut from the Stitch So Sweetly die set. And then I've got a piece of 1 inch by 3.5. Oh, actually, I think I made it 3, so I think I made it too small. I did, but that's okay. I will put the rest of it together and I can go back and always cut that a little bit bigger after. It should be 3.5 by 1 inch. Okay, and then I've got these two dies here. These two die cuts that are from the Nature's Harvest bundle. So they're really part of the Harvest dies. Okay, so what I did is, this one is crumb cake. This one is soft succulent. I literally just took the colors from the designer series paper. So the only one that I have used on any of these is this one here, because I wanted a little bit of brightness. But this is what all of these look like. And I've used most of these on the sampler that I just showed to you. So they're very muted on the one side and really quite bright on the other. Gives you some options in terms of what you want to play with, which is nice because I tend to mess around a lot and wreck a lot of paper when I'm crafting. Just trying to figure out what I want to do. All right, so I've got the wheat. This is cut in crumb cake, and I did go ahead and emboss it with the time worn type 3D embossing folder. This one's kind of hard to see on camera just because it really doesn't have a defined pattern. It's all over the place. But I did go ahead and emboss that ahead of time because I wanted to give it a little bit of dimension. Okay. And then I cut this one here out of, this is soft succulent. And then what I wanted to do, and I actually do have everything here, theoretically, I hope. I'm just going to take one of the stamps from Nature's Harvest. I'm going to take this one here, and I'm just going to stamp on that little cutout. I don't even know what you want to call it. Like it's not a weed. It's not a flower. I'd like to say it's like pussy willows, but that's the wrong season, so I'm not sure. This is pretty dark ink, so I'm going to go ahead and ink it up, and then I'm going to stamp it off, and then I will go ahead and stamp it on there. Because like I say, I don't want it full strength. I tried that, and it is really, really, really strong, so I don't want to do that. Okay. Oh, see? Like that. Well, you know what I'm going to do? Because you can. I'm just going to turn it over. This is one of those die cuts where it really does not matter if you hit it the right way the first time. So, okay. I think I want that one just a little bit more. Okay, perfect. Get this out of here so I don't run my hands through it, because we know that I like to do that. All right, so now we have our embossed wheat and we have our stamped stems. And then for the other two pieces, what I wanted to do is I wanted to give them something. So you can kind of see under here that there is a pattern under here, and there is one under here as well. You know, it's part of the whole, I like things to be a little bit dimensional. I like to have them kind of something. It's funny, I like things plain and I like things clean and classic, but sometimes I really like having bits and pieces. And this is kind of an occasion that calls for it. So what I did is I went back to the Quiet Meadow stamp set. And these stamps actually work really well with that whole Nature's Harvest. It's almost like when they designed them, they designed the two of them at the same time to work with one another, one being spring, one being fall. So I went and I pulled this one here, and I've gone and pulled this one here off of that stamp set. So let me quickly open the ink. I don't do these things ahead of time because I tend to make a mess. All right, so this is the words. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it on that die cut in Calypso Coral. Okay, I think I'll put just a little bit more. Okay, so now I have the words coming across. It's certainly not overwhelming. It just gives you a little bit of something. And then for this smaller one, I'm going to take those dots from that stamp set as well. And I'm going to put the dots on. However, Bumblebee is a pretty strong ink as well, so I'm going to stamp that off before I put those on there. Okay, good. Like I said, just a little something. I'm not looking for a lot. I'm just looking for a little something. Okay, so now I've got the Calypso Coral piece, I've got the Bumblebee piece, and I am going to use a dimensional to put that on just to give it a little bit of height, but not too much, because otherwise things will really kind of get out of hand. All right, so I'm just going to pop that on there. Okay, so I've got those two colors there. And the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to take my die cuts and I'm going to glue them on. I did use some of the multi-purpose liquid glue because I want to make sure that there's a lot of stability in terms of the glue. They're not going to come apart because they're really loose all over. Like they're only glued just under here. So I'm just going to put this down just to make sure that I have my placement of where I want it. Okay, so I'm going to want it to be something like that. Okay, so I know that I have to put some glue just under there. I'm going to flip it over. Nice thing is this stuff dries really quickly. Okay, there we go. Like I said, not very much, but this, just flip it over and put it on. Glue it down. Okay, there we go. Yep. Okay, that's on there. I think just near the center row of this one here. So same thing, just enough to kind of glue it down because this will stick. It's not going to come apart once it's on there. And then just kind of put it like that. And I'm going to hold it for just a second. Okay. All right, just to make sure they're stuck together. Okay, good. So I have some linen thread in my little thing, and don't mind the roll because it kind of came apart at some point. And I need about, wow, now it's really, okay, wait a sec, here we go. I need about 10 inches. 10 inches per strand. Have I got it? When I was working with it today, it was coming off the other end still. So let's see. Okay. I did not think I was going to have an issue with it because, like I said, it was coming over the other end. Okay, there we are. Okay, good. I'm going to turn over this way, though. All right, so I've got my centimeter side down, unfortunately, but you know, we're Canadian. We know how to work with this. Okay, 30 centimeters, about 12 inches. So we're going to go, give or take, we'll say about 25 centimeters. Yeah, 26. Okay, so let's see. I want 26 centimeters. I can convert all kinds of stuff in my head. I can do centigrade to Fahrenheit and back again. I can do kilometers to miles. I can't do height, though. I don't know what it is about height, but somebody says that they're X number of centimeters tall. I just look at them and say, I have no idea what that is, right? As Canadians are kind of a weird bunch when it comes to that. We can convert all kinds of stuff. We understand all kinds of measurements, but every once in a while, something just twigs us off. Okay, all right, so I'm going to take all three of these pieces of linen thread, and I'm going to just hold them together, kind of straighten them out a little bit, and then I'm going to tie them in a bow. I do want one end of the bow to be a little bit, or one loop to be slightly off center, just because one of the tails wound up being a little bit longer. Okay, so I've got my bow. Just make sure my tails are a little bit longer. Okay, pull that one out. Oh yeah, see, I have like longer tails on one side than the other. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to pull them back just a little bit. All right, and then I am going to kind of mix it up a little bit. Okay, I don't like that bow. Let's start again. If you don't get it right the first time, let's try it again. Okay, that's a little bit better, I think. All right. Okay, so I've got my bow. I'm going to pull it taut, and then I'm going to start pulling it back, because then I actually want to mess around with the loops just a little bit. So I'm going to pull a couple of them so they're tighter and looser, and I think we're good. Okay, and I'll snip off the excess just so that I'm not trying to do it after. All right, okay, so I've got my little bow here, and you could use a glue dot to put this on, or you could use some glue to put it on. I just happen to have the glue dots here because I tried really hard to make sure I actually had everything on the table tonight, so I'm not running around. Okay, so now I've got that on there. So this is like your main piece of your table favor, right? So you can see it's very, very similar to this one. I just flipped that die cut around because I accidentally went and stamped on it full strength. Okay, so I have that there. Now, as I said, this one is a little bit short. So what I will do is I will glue this down. Will I? Where's the paper? Okay, bear with me. My paper cutter's right behind me. Let me just quickly cut it. Okay, let's see. 1 inch by 1 by 3.5. Okay. All right. Oh, it was the right length. Clearly, I have been having one of those weeks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I've got my piece here, and then I'm going to put some adhesive on the back, but I don't want it to go all the way across the back because this is going to curve. And so you can see when you look at the back of this one that if you go and pull it all the way to the end, then this whole thing is going to curve like that. So you really just want to put a decent amount just in the center. I am using pretty strong adhesive for this. Like I'm using the Seal Plus just because I want to make sure it doesn't come off. So you can see it's just across the center of it there. So put that on, making sure that my pattern is facing up. And there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to curl it around so that it is going to go back like this. I'm going to add a little bit of, once again, stronger adhesive because you want it to stick. So we're just going to put a little bit there, and we're going to wrap it around so that we have it just like this. Okay, so now you can take your napkin. Once you've got this, you can tape your napkin. You can fold it through here. I just literally just kind of folded it in half and then started to roll it. I don't have any Thanksgiving napkins in my house at the moment. Apparently I haven't gone out and bought them. Although I think in part because I don't think we're actually hosting Thanksgiving this year for the first time in 20 years. So I'm not really all that concerned about it for a change. Okay, so you've got this here. And then for the place card, I just went and used the same thing. So it's the same technique on those, once again, pussy willows, whatever you want to call them, that particular greenery back here, the soft succulent greenery. I did die cut the wheat this time from Bumblebee just to kind of give it a little bit of something different. And then I cut the flower the echinacea from some of the designer papers. So it's got a little bit of a pattern without you doing anything to it. I just glued them down and then added a bow to this one. So this is just a 4x4, 4-inch by 4-inch piece of cardstock. I did score it in half and then I folded it over, and I will go ahead and put a name on here because I will make a bunch of these and take them over to my sister-in-law's house before we have Thanksgiving. And so then when everybody sits down at their table or their plate, then they'll have their napkin with their cutlery inside, and then they'll have their little place card as well. Okay, so this is just something to give you a little bit of an idea of some way to decorate your table a bit for Thanksgiving. As I say, Thanksgiving in Canada is on the 11th of October, which is also coincidentally my 15th anniversary with the company. So watch for that, because I'm going to have something special that runs around that weekend, but I'm not going to share any hints for it just yet. Okay, so if you have any other questions, then please go ahead and put them in the comments. Remember, today's the last day of celebration. And where's my piece of paper? All of a sudden I feel like I've forgotten something, even though I'm pretty sure I haven't forgotten anything. Let's see, Thanksgiving. No, that's good. Okay, so thank you for stopping by tonight and joining me, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you. Have a good night.